are going to get empowered today. And I use that term not lightly because that really is what I love to do. All right, so if you suffer from cramps, bloating, anger, and the blues, I really want to be able to help you understand how to stop letting PMS and PMDD rule your world. This is a big one for a lot of women. If you struggle with really, really bad PMS and PMDD, please let me know. I know that mine was absolutely terrible. Natural remedies for PCOS, ovarian cysts, fibroids, endometriosis, and adenomyosis. One thing that isn't really covered very often with people in this sort of health industry is all about adenomyosis. But I'm going to be talking to you about the natural remedies and why I actually group a bunch of these symptoms, yes, I call them symptoms, all together. I'm going to give you guys some solace on the whole profile and what you can do. How to control heavy bleeding and even gain some regularity with an out-of-whack cycle. I don't know about you guys, but I had horrible heavy bleeding. And I also want to let you know that if you're trying to get pregnant, there is hope. Hot flashes, irregular periods, low libido, vaginal dryness, and hysterectomies. I'm going to give you solutions for perimenopause and menopause. Fatigue, insomnia, and stubborn weight gain. How to get your power back from adrenal fatigue and thyroid issues. And I'm also going to be talking about the #1 area that's often overlooked by women and practitioners. So you might be wondering, who the heck am I and why am I qualified to be telling you all this? My name is Melissa Ramos. I have a background in Chinese medicine and also nutrition. I'm a nutritionist and I'm the owner of Sexy Food Therapy Inc. And I absolutely love talking about hormones. But I got to tell you, it didn't always start out with me feeling all balanced and feeling like I got my stuff together in this sort of area of life. Because let's put it this way. I got my period when I was 13 years old. Now, this isn't abnormal. However, within 1 hour, I was wearing a super absorbency plus tampon and overnight maxi. I would have to actually set my alarm clock because I was soaking through both of them within an hour. If I didn't set that alarm clock, I'd actually soil the sheets. This was a huge, huge problem for me. And it was pretty embarrassing, especially when I started dating. My periods debilitated me. I had terrible, terrible anxiety. And I was in the closet about being depressed. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the reality is that, when I would be depressed, it would be something that I actually felt quite a bit of shame about. Now, I don't know about you, but I know a lot of women who I work with suffer from depression. A huge percentage of those women have, really grapple with being able to, understand, is there life after medication? And a lot of them don't understand that there's a lot of deficiencies that are actually created from taking those medications that can actually make your depression worse. By the time I was 26, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. And so Jules says, that was so me for my first period, super heavy from day one when I was 10. Oh my goodness. If anyone else can relate to that, please let me know. But I know that is a huge, huge issue. But listen, guys, PCOS was my jam. There's a reason why that I actually do this for a living and helping women with polycystic ovarian syndrome. 4 years later, an ovarian cyst ruptured and it tore off a piece of my right ovary. Okay? And this was a pivotal moment in my life because it was when I actually almost died. I was told that if I was up north, that, and I didn't have close access to a hospital, if I was vacationing, that I actually probably could have died that evening. As you can see from this photo, there's actually 24 staples in my abdomen. I know I'm smiling in this photo, but reality is they took out close to 3 liters of blood from me. I had an epidural for the pain. I had a blood transfusion, and I was in hospital for almost 2 weeks, and it took me months of rehabilitation. I also was diagnosed with fibroids about 2 years later. And believe it or not, I found out by accident. And you might be like, how the heck is that possible? Well, I went in there complaining into the hospital, complaining of severe pelvic pain, which is kind of abnormal for fibroids because a lot of them are asymptomatic. But, they said to me, well, we don't see anything, but do you want a copy of your ultrasound reports? Side note, always get a copy of your ultrasound reports. Any reports, period. I put them in my purse, go home. Next day, pull it out, and then notice that it said that I had a subserosal fibroid and an intramural fibroid. Why wouldn't they tell me that? I mean, it's amazing. So definitely this is something that I speak to women about, that you really got to get empowered. And a part of that is also making sure that you have copies of your reports. From a professional standpoint, I'm a nutritionist with a background in Chinese medicine, as I mentioned. But the reality is I've been all over the media. And this is amazing, and it's great, and I'm thankful. And I've been on the TED stage as the poop whisperer herself because I love talking about poop. And I've been on CBS as The Doctors. We have a live-to-air show here in Canada called The Social, which I am also on as well as their health expert. But I was overworked, as my career began to soar, and the pressure, truthfully, really began to mount. I ate healthy food, but I'd stress eat. And I gave to everybody else except for myself. I don't know how many of you guys out there feel that way at all, that you just keep giving to every single person. And after a while, you're like, when is it my turn? I tried eating less. I tried exercising harder, but my weight continued to climb. And this is really hard when you're in front of camera, because the truth is the camera really does add weight. So I gained about 25 pounds. Now, I'm not saying that this photo of this gal here is overweight by any stretch, okay? I'm just saying that there comes a time in our lives that we just don't feel comfortable in our own skin, and that was me. I felt like a fraud because of the industry that I'm in. And my libido, my God, it was non-existent. So I researched, and I was determined to find an answer. And then I found it. So before I was 25 pounds heavier and climbing, it wasn't going down, it was actually going up. But after what I had learned, 2 months later, I lost 20 pounds. I was 20 pounds lighter. My muscle tone really started to develop. And then 1 month later, I dropped those additional 5 pounds, and I got increased strength, energy, and muscle tone. So if I could do it, especially working it harder and eating less, you can do it as well. I see so many women who just struggle with their weight hormonally, and this is definitely a part of the picture, are hormones. And that libido I was telling you about, it was back. So all this is hormonally related, guys. I really, truly got my life back. So everything I learned about hormones is what I'm going to show you, okay? I want to tell you everything that I've learned as much as I possibly can within this hour that we're together. Are you ready? I gotta ask that. Because if you are, let's do this. Oh, and before I dive in further, know this. I'm going to be giving a bonus gift to everyone who stays until the end. And I know this fancy dancy little system, I'll tell you that right now. So I know who stays and who goes. So make sure that you hang on tight till the end, because if you do, you're going to get this bonus gift. And why? Because I love giving away free shit. Okay. So let's do this. Cramps, bloating, anger, and the blues. How to stop letting PMS and PMDD rule your world. So I first want to chat with you about how to treat yourself prior to your period is really an indicator for how bad your PMS and PMDD will be. And I say that because women will get their period and go, oh my God, what can I do now? And there are things you can do. But reality is you also have to remember that things that your period really is indicative for how you actually treated yourself like a month or two prior. People are loving my little Giphies. Thank you, Crystal and Lauren. Yeah, there's a lot of them. I love using them in my presentations. Okay, so some of the biggest offenders are to PMS and PMDD. Yes, ladies, vino. I know, but premenstrual breast pain is associated with the liver according to Chinese medicine. So if you're drinking loads, and when I say loads, more than 4 servings per week, and then before your period comes, your breasts are absolutely so painful. You got to hold them as you're walking downstairs, or it hurts to take your bra off like a ninja. Well, when you're getting that breast tenderness, that's associated with the liver. So you want to make sure that the alcohol is also in check. Bread, rice, pasta, sugary sweets. How many of you guys here that are listening in are carb, just carb, I don't want to say monsters, but carb mamas, let's just say. How many of you guys crave carbs? I know for me, the one thing that is just my weak point has always been I've had a massive sweet tooth. And it's the reason why that I work with women, especially in my programs. I'm always making sure that there are alternatives that they can have that are really going to help to satiate those cravings that they otherwise would have. Nicola goes, #guilty. Diane says, my fall down in life. Lauren says, I have premenstrual breast pain like crazy. I've dropped the carbs as best as I can, and I've never drank much at all. Loads of stuff you can do, but we definitely have a lot of people who are chatting about carbs. I hear you, ladies. So these foods break down into simple sugars, creating imbalanced blood sugar, leading to more food cravings, particularly sugar. So you'll eat these foods and they hit this dopamine receptor in your brain. You're like, instant serotonin. God, that felt good. And then all of a sudden you're like, give me more. And it just creates this really vicious cycle. Foods which break down into sugar, like those carbs, congest the liver and it prevents it from excreting estrogen. And so this actually becomes really challenging for detoxification of your liver. So a lot of people would think like, oh, fat makes your liver congested. It's not actually. It's all those excess carbs that are doing it because they break down to sugar. So what you really want to do is decrease your complex carbs. And when I talk about carbs, I'm talking about those starchy carbs, okay? And increase the good type of carbs, which is your vegetable count, because vegetables are a carb. They're just a good kind of carb. To at least 50% of your plate or more. And the reality is that that's going to make you feel a ton better in the long run. I promise Nicola, who's like, sigh, really? I know, but I'm telling you that if you actually are empowered with proper recipes, this is going to be easy. Trust me. The other major PMS and PMDD offender is, coffee. I know a bunch of you guys are going to be like, oh my God, I'm out of here. Melissa, you are insane. There's no way, because I really, really love my coffee. Listen, I just don't leave this masterclass yet. Please hear me out. Coffee robs the body of mood stabilizing, muscle relaxing nutrients like magnesium, which would explain cramps, back pain, and grinding teeth. Definitely something that you have to be aware of. Now, this isn't to say that I tell people to just get off the coffee for the rest of their lives, but there is sort of this period where I'm like, okay, let's just kind of give your body a bit of a break. But I'm a really big fan of providing alternatives. So I have this breakfast hot matcha smoothie, and I just want to be able to point out, you don't have to add the cayenne pepper to this. I love stuff spicy, like I love spicy food. I talk about it in my Instagram, how much I'm obsessed with hot sauces. But you don't have to add that in. So you can just discard that if you don't want that in there. But, if you can't do almond milk, you can always do hemp milk. If you have an issue with almond milk or cashew milk or coconut milk, if you don't like coconut oil, you can always do ghee. There's always ways to sort of revise things. But this matcha, it's like a latte or like a hot smoothie. And it's yummy because it's full of fiber and it's got those really amazing hemp hearts in it that are hormone balancing. And the matcha has that caffeine that's not going to give you that like, yes, I'm awake, to damn, I'm totally crashed. And now I want to bite someone's head off and I need energy. And then you go and grab yourself like a granola bar, right? So this is something that I find really helpful. It helps to stabilize the blood sugar. It's got the caffeine, and it's really wonderful to be able to sort of curb those caffeine headaches that you usually get when you are getting off the coffee. So if you're feeling that, I get it, but this is a really, really wonderful recipe. So if you haven't taken a picture of this yet, please do so. Okay. So check out what Shonda had to say, and I have to sort of bring this up. She says, my cravings during that time of the month were out of control. After working with Melissa and changing my diet, adding key supplements, and really practicing self-care, my PMS was not only non-existent, but I also didn't find myself stress eating. While I may have been skeptical before, I am absolutely a believer that we don't have to suffer every month. Here's one of the supplements that I think that you should add. If you are just struggling with, PMS every single month, Thorne and AOR have a formula for a B complex, which essentially their B vitamins are in their active methylated forms. And I say that because 40 to 50% of the population actually has this mutated gene where it makes you really require methylated B vitamins. And the reason why that those methylated B vitamins help is because they can perform various roles in detoxification. But what happens here from a PMS standpoint is with PMS moods, there's usually a deficiency in vitamin B6 because vitamin B6 is your mood regulating vitamin. Birth control, antibiotics, even antidepressants also rob the body of that mood regulating vitamin B6. Women with low levels of vitamin B1 will actually struggle producing a neurotransmitter GABA which would otherwise reduce anxiety. So B vitamins are incredibly important for the PMS profile. And as I mentioned, it helps with liver detoxification. So here's the thing. You always want to make sure that you take one capsule at breakfast and at lunch. And the reason why that I say that is because if you take B vitamins on an empty stomach, you can actually get nauseous. So just a little heads up with that. Always make sure that you take it with food. Then there's magnesium citrate. So magnesium citrate essentially works with our metabolic system, our cycle, which is called the Krebs cycle or the citric acid cycle, and it actually allows you to easily assimilate it. It also positively influences anxiety and depression symptoms, along with nausea and constipation. So magnesium, believe it or not, is a really key mineral that's required. In an earlier study that involved 192 women taking 400 milligrams of magnesium daily for PMS, 95% experienced less breast pain and had less weight gain. Hello. Also, 89% suffered less nervous tension and 43% had fewer headaches. If you get any type of headaches before your period, this is definitely something you should consider. So to start off, I always suggest just take the one 200 milligram capsule at lunch and then at dinner. So you can start even at lunch and just hold it there for a bit. Because the reason why is if you take too much magnesium, believe it or not, you can end up getting poops because it relaxes your muscles. And if you relax it too much, chances are you are going to get the poops. So just kind of slowly introduce it into your world and go from there. And are you bloated? Anyone here suffer from bloating? Well, increasing your water to 2 liters of water daily to actually flush out excess water is huge. So yes, you actually need to drink more water to flush out water. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. Hydrating will also address PMS migraines and aid with that breast tenderness, which in Chinese medicine, breast tenderness is also a factor of something called liver qi stagnation, which essentially just means that the energy of your liver isn't moving and flowing properly. So adding in more water is going to be key. A diet review in the medical journal from Mars showed that women suffering from PMS followed diets that were 275% higher in refined sugar. These women were also 79% higher in dairy products. They were also 77% lower in magnesium. They also had 63% higher in refined carbohydrates, 53% lower in iron, and 52% lower in zinc. So Tiffany asks, Is it okay to take these supplements if you already take a daily multivitamin? I fear overtaking vitamins. I think that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked. The thing is, what I would suggest to you is finish taking your multivitamin. When you are done, I would actually consider just taking some of the supplements that I recommended. I kind of sort of feel like multivitamins are the jacks of all trades and masters of none. It's very rare that I actually suggest a multivitamin to somebody. So I would just say, like, instead of, obviously wasting money, which we don't want you to do, just finish taking it and then switch to something where you're actually therapeutically dosing. The one thing that I think is really cool, especially from a dietary perspective, I love helping people understand how to cook. So in my hormone membership program, that Shonda, that woman that you just heard about her experience, I actually offer a live cooking class each month. And I love offering these live cooking classes that you can essentially watch from the comfort of your own home or your kitchen if you want to cook along with me. But I love this because the thing about sexy lady balls, which lady balls referring to your ovaries, is that I want people to get excited about food, because food really is a huge base of health. And as you can see, there's so many deficiencies that have been created that I absolutely want to show everyone a real connection with their foods. Like, one cooking class we had was showing actual sexy lady ball approved bread. I made flatbreads. I made a vegetable bread as well. Just really tasty stuff that you can do. And you'd be surprised at some of the wonderful things that are actually available to you. So check out what Morgan had to say. She said, you guys, I started my period, and for like the first time ever, there were no crazy PMS, breast swelling and tenderness, bloat, extreme hunger, etc., and no cramps. Also, it is light in what I would imagine a normal period should look like. So stoked. So it is possible. And I love the fact that when women get their periods, they say to me, I had no idea it was even coming. And that to me is amazing. And the reality check, birth control and adverse effects, like birth control actually has a lot of side effects that people don't realize. And that's one of the things that I want to be able to put out there, because they'll take it and don't realize that there's the reality check is that there are deficiencies that are created. It actually damages the gut bacteria, which can then increase stress, weight, and reduces estrogen clearance. It can create something called pituitary insensitivity, although this is more common with Depo-Provera. And for those of you guys who are listening in and wondering what the heck is pituitary insensitivity, essentially your pituitary gland is like, it signals your ovaries to ovulate. It can signal your body to have a period. So if your pituitary is insensitive, then is essentially your body doesn't know when to start bleeding again when you get off the period. It's the birth control, which is the reason why sometimes it takes women a little bit longer to be able to get their period after discontinuing birth control. It also reduces liver clearance due to estrogen buildup if taken over a long period of time. Also, synthetic estrogen, believe it or not, reduces thyroid function. Nutrient deficiencies created are zinc, B vitamins, magnesium, selenium, vitamin E, and vitamin C. So when I see Lauren, who writes, who agrees with Crystal, who says birth control is my arch enemy, I totally hear you, because it's like that for a lot of women, for sure. But I'm taking the copper IUD. That's okay, right? That's always the first question I get from women when I talk about birth control. And here are some of the effects from a non-hormonal IUD. So essentially, this can lead to inflammation during the menstrual cycle, which can make your cramping and blood flow worse. It also reduces liver clearance due to estrogen buildup if taken over a long period of time. The other thing is copper toxicity, that by comparison can actually decrease zinc levels in the body. And the reason why I say by comparison is because copper and zinc play this little this little balancing act. So it's almost like they're on a seesaw. So if you have too much copper in your body, essentially it'll create a zinc deficiency, which isn't a good thing. Some of the things that you'll see is a lowered immune response, anxiety, decreased stomach acid, because you require zinc to produce stomach acid, which is huge, because if you don't have enough stomach acid, you'll start to bloat about half an hour after you eat. Hair loss, PMS, extreme fatigue, sugar cravings, really big things to consider. So what is a natural and safe alternative other than the condom. It's the reason why that I actually have expert interviews in Sexy Lady Balls, that hormone membership program I was telling you about. And this one actually has one of the many ones we have is by the Red Tent Sisters. And they actually talk about providing solutions to a natural and highly effective way to prevent pregnancy that doesn't necessarily involve a condom, and believe it or not, is over 95% effective. So really huge. So what if you're using the pill to regulate your period? Pretty common, right? Well, check out what Lisa had to say, one of our ballers, and she says, it's an SLB miracle. Today I got my period. This was the first period I have ever had naturally in about 10 years. Before I was either on the pill or taking prescription medication to ovulate or menstruate. I've only been on the transition from the pill protocol for 1 month and was honestly not even expecting a period for at least a few months. But this one snuck up and surprised me today. Didn't even notice any PMS prior. I'm so happy to see that all my efforts are starting to pay off. Thank you, Melissa, for everything you do for us ballers. Your program really has changed my life for the better. And thank you to all those fellow ballers for your support and inspiration that kept me going through the tough days. I am really so excited. I think I'm going to have to do a dance party with myself. So this is kind of huge. I think that a lot of women feel that the only hope is birth control, and I really have to stress that it's not. I do want to be able to talk about a subject that is huge for a lot of women who, maybe even yourself that's listening in right now, but about PCOS, ovarian cysts, fibroids, adenomyosis, endometriosis, because there is hope. What does PCOS and all of those conditions all have in common? Believe it or not, they're all estrogen-related conditions that require subsequent progesterone support, okay? Huge. So other symptoms can include bad PMS. I mean, I'm talking about alternating between the blues, like, oh my God, I'm so fat and so ugly, to irritability and snapping someone's head off. Any of you ladies can relate to that? Because I remember when I had really bad PMS, this, no joke, could be me walking into a room. Heavy bleeding. I already spoke about my experience about this, but we have a bleeder. That was me. I don't know about you guys, but that was a big one, but definitely could be a huge estrogen-related condition. Breast tenderness or fibrocystic breasts, and headaches, especially before your period. These are all symptoms that a lot of women don't even realize are associated with this condition. And decreased libido, which I gotta say, the only word I have to describe for that, at least for me, for a lot of other women I know, is Netflix. There was actually an article that talked about how most women would rather binge watch Netflix and have sex with their husband. No joke. That might even be you. But that also could be because your hormones are askew. In fact, I could probably put money on that. And junk in the trunk. I'm part Latin, so when I gain weight, it goes to my bum. People might be like, that's a good thing. Not really. But so if you have a lot of weight that's just piling on your butt, hips, and thighs, definitely that is where estrogen loves to store fat. And in some cases of PCOS, we're not only seeing elevated levels of estrogen, but also testosterone. Here's the vicious cycle. Stressed, high carb eating, because let's face it, you're not going to want to eat a salad, okay? Increased insulin. Insulin essentially is your fat storage hormone. So it increases to match that. Then it decreases a protein called sex hormone binding globulin. And all this protein really does is it binds to testosterone and it binds to estrogen so that it can bind to it and it can get it out of your system. The problem is if there's a lot of insulin that's pumping because you're eating a ton of carbs, that protein is reduced and it can't actually bind to estrogen or even your male hormones like testosterone. What happens? You get increased amounts of testosterone and estrogen, okay? And that's a really big thing to consider because if you do have a lot of that, you're going to see issues like an ovulation, hirsutism, which is facial hair. I don't know if any of you guys suffer from that, but that's a big one. Infertility as well is also really big. And you have to look at that as what are the hormone components associated with it. And we'll see insulin resistance, weight gain, and abdominal obesity. So can you start to see this cycle forming? Really, really, really big. And it just continues on and on and on because fat loves estrogen and then estrogen loves fat. So it just this massive cycle that keeps continuing. Aubrey says, any bearded beauties? Definitely women are out there that I know, at least in my membership, lots of women who struggle with facial hair. And there are things you can do from topically to beauty masks to internally to really help to balance out those hormones. Believe it or not, you can gain 30 pounds in a year from a dairy allergy or intolerance. And believe it or not, 70% of humans are unable to drink milk past infancy. That was my thought when I thought 30 pounds in a year. That might not seem a lot when you factor that it's like over the course of 12 months. But when you think of it, you don't want to be looking back last year and going, damn, I gained 30 pounds last year. Who wants that? Inositol powder. Here's something you can add in, okay, if you're really struggling. It relaxes the nerves, which is great, especially if you've got anxiety. Lowers excess estrogen and testosterone. It helps the liver metabolize fats, so that's really helpful. And it addresses estrogen-related anxiety, okay? You might not realize that maybe your anxiety is due to the fact that there's increased levels of estrogen. So you're like, my God, Melissa, I'm feeling crazy. Yeah, it might be your hormones. And there are things you can do about that. You don't have to feel disempowered or even devalued. So directions, you really want to start off at about half a teaspoon at breakfast, and at dinner, mix it in some water or a smoothie, it's totally fine, and slowly build up to 1 tablespoon. The reason why I say slowly build up to 1 tablespoon twice a day is because inositol, since it relaxes the nerves, it can relax them a little bit too much that it can give you some really ranky gas. So I'm just warning you that your husband might, or your partner or your wife, you know, whoever your partner is, just might not appreciate the gas, and it can give you some loose poops. So just slowly introduce it. So I always give people the heads up with that, because if you don't know and you're like, why is my tummy gurgling? It might be the inositol. You just have to start slow and slowly increase it. And if you can't get to 1 tablespoon, all good. Not everybody is able to get to that full dose. Okay, so just know that. Skin clear and labs are normal? What PCOS? Okay, so Suha, check out what she had to say. I have something to share with y'all. I am sitting in the parking lot of my endocrinologist's office with a huge grin on my face. Here's the thing. When I joined the group, I was taking metformin and spironolactone. I have PCOS. I was bloated. My skin was wonky. I was always tired. All the shitty symptoms of PCOS. I had it. I cut my doses in half and slowly started to introduce the supplements to my body. I am now on the lowest dose of meds. I was curious how my labs would look because I feel so good. But I also was scared he would know that I didn't take the prescribed to me. Drum roll. He said my labs look normal. He said that he didn't know that I had PCOS, and he looked at me in my labs. He never would have thought I had it. He was just so impressed with how I looked overall and complimented me on how clear my skin looked. Ladies, you are in the right place. I'm a firm believer that it's not just taking the supplements like Melissa says. It's reducing the stress, drink more water, sleep more, and you will get better. Eat clean and exercise. I was joining this group a few months, and now even my husband can tell you how good this has been for me. Hashtag my sexy lady balls are happy. I know it's a bit of a long testimonial, but I just want to be able to share that with you guys, because I know a lot of women who come in, even hearing these master classes, are like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. So I'm all about letting you know that there's a way out. These core conditions have actually a correlation with a leaky gut. So digestion's a huge part of this program, for sure. And researchers are now speculating that endometriosis and adenomyosis specifically may be actually autoimmune diseases. I got a lot of people who have contested me on this belief, but with the amount of research that's coming out, it is definitely an area that needs to be investigated. And I'm always trying to make sure that I put out new research, especially when I do topic-specific coaching calls every month. And we pick different topics every single month to talk about, but I always want to bring the latest research, because my job is to empower you. It's your body. You need to know what's going on. And 15 minutes at the doctor is certainly not going to give you the info that you need to feel and walk out of there valued and knowing what the heck is going on. Probiotics. Super important, guys. So my favorite is Nature and Healthy Start System. I would not recommend any other brand other than these guys because they're phenomenal, okay? Inflammation truly begins in the gut, and this really is about hormone issues right across the board. Probiotics actually help to relieve that intestinal inflammation. If your digestive system is just out of whack, you will end up having hormone issues. I can guarantee it. It actually, when you take probiotics, it reduces the permeability of the damaged gut lining. So the permeability is just a fancy word for saying that there's holes in the gut lining. And when there's holes in the gut lining, food and toxins and so forth can pass through, and that can end up creating inflammation systemically in the system. And inflammation, we're not just thinking of like, ooh, I've got this swelling on my elbow from hitting it, but more so things like inflammation like PCOS or fibroids or endo or adenomyosis or like any of those things. Those are all inflammatory states. So directions: take 1 capsule from each bottle at breakfast. Sounds a bit weird that there's like 3 bottles, but the reason why I love it is because they're the only probiotic company that actually has separated these strains, which is important because bacteria by nature are antagonistic, meaning they kill off each other. It's kind of like adding like your entire family in one room. Throw in some X's in there. No one's going to get out alive. So it's the same thing with bacteria. You don't want to put all different types of strains in one capsule without making sure there's a proper delivery system. It's the reason why that each bottle is its own strain, so it can get into targeted intestinal areas. Bone broth. Love this. It contains glycine, a protein that helps to reduce stomach acid to break down food. It's also rich in L-glutamine, which helps to repair the intestinal lining. So important, a lot of people don't realize this, but you actually have to boil the bones first for 20 minutes to remove any impurities, which kind of bubble and foam up. And that could make your bone broth taste bad and also irritate the gut. So boil your bones first. And also, just a side note, if you really want to make it tasty, roast it for 30 minutes at 350 degrees and boil it with onions and garlic for at least 24 hours. Big time. Okay. Next, I thought this was a kind of cool. Gargling actually helps to stimulate the vagus nerve that puts us into a parasympathetic state, rest and digest, which contributes to healing a leaky gut. So believe it or not, gargling, just get some water, put some salt in it, gargle at the end of you brushing your teeth. That actually stimulates this really big nerve called the vagus nerve that is between your brain and your gut. And by stimulating that, you will go into a rest and digest state. I know that sounds totally whack, but it's true. So add this also to your regime. Cheap and cheerful. And you can do a little dance like I'm doing right there. Also, liver support is absolutely crucial for all estrogen-related conditions. In fact, all hormonal conditions, truthfully. Our liver has over 560 functions. So bitters are a big one that I always recommend. It helps to increase digestive fire and bile flow to carry out excess estrogens, hormones, toxins, you name it. And it actually helps the liver metabolize fats. This is one of these formulas, and they're formulas essentially, that, when I spoke to my master herbalist, she had said to me, this would be the one thing that she would have more than anything is a bitters formula, because it really helps stimulate digestion. The other thing is it should not be confused with Swedish bitters, which it often is. Swedish bitters actually contains a laxative in it called senna. Senna is a herb that can promote you to go poop, but it also is habit forming. So make sure that you don't get Swedish bitters. Directions: you want to take about a half a teaspoon at breakfast and dinner and slowly build up to 1 tablespoon. You can even stick to literally 1 teaspoon. It's totally fine. They taste bitter, but they're supposed to. So if you're in Canada, my favorite is St. Francis Hepato DR for liver health. It's a bitters combo that has milk thistle added to it. If you are in the US or abroad, then I would suggest taking Urban Moonshine's Digestive Bitters, but the original, okay? Not the maple flavored one. It's supposed to taste like crap because it's supposed to stimulate digestion. So make sure that you don't take it sweetened. All right. Endo pain gone. Say what? Okay, so Kyla says, you guys, my endo pain is gone. For the first time, I am not in pain. I can't believe it. Today my period started, and for the first time I felt nothing. It was amazing. It's a beautiful thing when you can love your period again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Melissa, for your program. I joined 6 months ago, desperately needing to balance my hormones, having never tried anything before. With Mama B's help, along with the support from this group and incredible women, I can proudly say that I have. Goodness, it's still only the beginning of a lifelong journey, but I'm so grateful that suffering has ended. I just sigh because I'm so darn proud because I know this girl. Like working with her, I just sigh because I'm just proud. I look at these women like they're my sisters. They call me Mama B because they call it, my nickname is Mama Baller, just in case you're wondering, why do they keep calling you Mama B? But we have a really tight relationship, me and my ballers, and we have over 600 members, and it's growing substantially. Out of whack periods are due to elevated levels of estrogen and low levels of progesterone. I want to throw that out there. And I've definitely talked a little bit about the disparity between the two. But I will tell you this, studies actually show that turmeric helps to raise progesterone levels and decrease inflammation. So we've all heard of, well, most people have heard about turmeric's anti-inflammatory mojo powers, but it actually can help to raise progesterone levels. It's something we actually haven't really heard very much about. So I love golden milk. If you haven't tried it, you got to get on it. Love it. Here is my recipe from Sexy Lady Balls that I want to be able to share with you because I'm all about sharing is caring. And you guys got to get some recipes out of this masterclass. So make sure you take a photo of this. If you don't want to use nut milk, no problem. If you don't want to use stevia, you can always use honey. That is no problem at all. Lauren says, I want Kayla's life. It's totally possible. All right, so if you haven't taken a picture, please make sure you snap it now because we are going to move on. All right. What about increasing the chances of conception? Fertility is a symptom, not the cause. And people are like, what can I take for my infertility? Well, what's causing it? So I can tell you this. It is possible to conceive. Carolina says, ladies, I want to share with you the amazing news that I am pregnant. My husband and I have been trying to conceive a baby for over 2 years. I still can't believe it. I was diagnosed with PCOS, but followed Melissa's instructions to the T. So totally, absolutely possible. And the wonderful thing is I'm always trying to make sure that I provide women with as much reference help as possible so that you feel empowered to make the best choices for your body. You see, in Sexy Lady Balls, women receive a base supplement protocol with add-on supplements that they can include based on their symptoms. So, for example, if you came in and you were like, hey, Melissa, I'm having hot flashes because I'm going through perimenopause, you essentially just look at the add-on supplement list and you're like, hot flashes, I can add in this tincture, this herbal remedy, and that will help me with my hot flashes. But everyone starts off at a base anti-inflammatory protocol, and then there are add-ons that you can add on to your protocol. So it's very easy to customize it so that it is right for you. There's also an option to upgrade, just an FYI. I also offer full hormone panels that are available as an upgrade for ballers, and I do ship worldwide. I've actually shipped it as far as Dubai and even in Ireland as well. And I will say that hormone panels are a wonderful way to really be able to understand what is going on with your body. So essentially, which is a urine test, we test essentially all your estrogens because you actually have more than one estrogen, and they're metabolites. And I always talk about the metabolites as children. You have some good ones and you got some ones that are not exactly so great if they're elevated, okay? If you've got excess amounts of those certain metabolites, it can actually be markers of predisposing factors of cancer, which you don't want. So you want to make sure that those markers aren't elevated. The other thing it tests for is progesterone as well. And all your male hormones. We always think about testosterone, but there's DHEA and their metabolites. So we really look at this in depth. The other thing is cortisol levels throughout the day, and also melatonin. And now the really cool thing that they just added was your oxidative stress. So understanding if there's, again, anything that could be damaging your DNA structure. So we could actually be able to supplement accordingly for that. Now, these supplements, this hormone panel, I should say, is done via urine versus blood. And you might be like, well, why can't I just go to my doctor and get this? Well, reality is when you do this test via urine, they're testing yourself at a specific time of the month 5 times during that one day. So we get a very comprehensive understanding and an average of where you're at. And from a cortisol perspective, understanding where your cortisol levels are throughout the day. So I can go, okay, Mary, here is the herb you should take in the morning versus in the evening, you would take this herb. Because I don't want to give you something that's going to overstimulate you and give you heart palpitations. So I'm very, very specific in terms of what I'm going to be providing you with based on this hormone panel. Can your medical doctor provide you with this? No. This is something I get asked a lot. They can give you blood work, but the problem is blood only provides that one blood test at that one point of the day. So we're not getting a very comprehensive reading of it, although blood is blood and it is accurate. The problem is that I really don't get the complexity that I would normally get from a hormone panel. And truthfully, I believe every single woman, at least at one point in their life, should get a hormone panel done. Test, don't guess. It'll save you money in the long run if you know what's going on with your body. Then you can be able to understand, what do I do from there? So this is something that I offer for women, and it's coupled with a coaching call, and that way we can be able to figure out and get super detailed, and it's really, really helpful. Did you know that there's a significant correlation between melatonin deficiency and endometrial cancer? A lot of women don't realize that. So on a Dutch test, for example, if you've got really low levels of melatonin, that could be a pre-marker for cancer. So again, dose accordingly. If I see melatonin levels in the high hundreds, then that's also an indicator of gut dysfunction because you produce a lot of melatonin in your digestive system. Didn't know that? Just another part of the complex hormone panel that a lot of people don't realize. Bernice says, is a hormone panel via saliva test as good as the urine test? Some of the saliva ones are actually really good, but the type of hormone test that I actually provide has been the most comprehensive one thus far that I have seen in literally 15 years of practice. All right, so let's move forward and talk about hot flashes, irregular periods, low libido, vaginal dryness, and hysterectomies. Solutions for perimenopause and menopause. I'm also going to speak about some of the women who you might be listening in saying, I actually got a hysterectomy early in my life because I had to, because I was put on it artificially from Lupron. I'll also be talking to you as well. So after the age of 35, your essence in Chinese medicine begins to decline. And in Western medicine, we see this as a decline of progesterone. So other symptoms include thinning hair. We've already heard women tonight talk about how their hair is thinning. This is a natural progression of perimenopause, but there are things that you can do to help to address that. We also see an increased stubborn weight gain where you're like, what the heck happened? I have 10 pounds added weight that was never there before. So did you know 1 in 3 women in the United States will reach the age of 65 without a uterus? Like, come on, that's a third. That is absolutely insane. The reality is that perimenopause is all about hormonal surges. You still have just enough estrogen to make a thin lining in your uterus, but your breasts can become lumpier and your mind less agile. So without estrogen, we can't control our body temperature, sleep, and have no protection for our heart. So there are actually some estrogens that we have that are super helpful and needed, and we require them. So when we talk about estrogen, we're like, oh, it's bad, you don't want to have too much of it. But which one is it, and is it the metabolites? It's a little bit more complex than people realize, and that's why I'm here to help you decipher that. Testosterone levels also begin to fall significantly during this phase in our lives in menopause, and so does bone mass, because testosterone actually helps you manufacture or make bone. So that's really important. You see, when estrogen is surging higher with no progesterone as its anchor, this turns on a powerful cellular growth controller called epidermal growth factor. And this is a major player in breast cancer. So this is a phase that really, really requires hormonal help. Like you're going to go through this phase regardless, and it can take roughly about 10 years to go through it. It's not about trying to defy age, it's trying to make that transition a bit smoother. And adrenal support, oh my goodness, guys, this is a commonly overlooked area. So some support that you can have right now. Adrenal support varies dramatically, but in this phase of your life, if you are in perimenopause or menopause, ashwagandha is perfect because it actually helps to increase testosterone levels. So it's not exactly the best choice if you've got polycystic ovarian syndrome with notable high testosterone levels, but if you are in that menopause, perimenopausal phase, this would be a really good addition. It actually reduces cortisol. So if you are feeling super wound up and stressed out all the time, it's amazing for it. It reduces blood sugar levels, so that's also very helpful. So if you're taking the tincture, which is on the left, the St. Francis one, this is great if you're in Canada. You're going to take about a half a teaspoon. Or if you are in the States or if you're abroad, you can take 2 caps of the Gaia herbs in between lunch and dinner away from food. Okay, these are phenomenal. Also, what's really interesting is a study in fertility and sterility showed that 750 milligrams of vitamin C taken over 6 months increased progesterone levels. So a lot of people poo-poo vitamin C, but the reality is that vitamin C is actually quite crucial. But vitamin C is the stress-busting vitamin and is supposed to be the most abundant in the adrenal glands. However, 80% of vitamin C is eliminated through the bowel movements, so taking something like liposomal vitamin C is much more effective. 1 sachet equals 1,000 milligrams. Now you might be like, what the heck is this? Well, if you've ever heard of the IV, the Myers cocktail that they give you, it's usually with other vitamins and so forth and nutrients, but vitamin C, if it's taken intravenously, is incredibly well absorbed because it goes right to your blood. So this lipospheric or liposomal, I have no affiliation with this brand whatsoever, but you put it in a little bit of water, you can put it right in your mouth and just chuck it with some water right afterwards or chase it with water right afterwards, but it's highly absorbed. So you really want to make sure that you're taking this versus a chewable, those sugary powders, even the buffered vitamin C like the ester Cs, this is going to be much more effective. Even whole food vitamin Cs don't touch liposomal vitamin C. So if you have a progesterone deficiency in these numerous symptoms that I have mentioned this evening, vitamin C should be on your list. Evening primrose also helps to support progesterone levels. Simply take 2,000 milligram capsules once daily with breakfast and dinner. Now, you have to be careful because if you're trying to conceive, you only really want to do it from day 1 to day 14 of your cycle. And that's just based on the actual, the phases of your cycle. But if you are perimenopausal or menopausal and you're like, I'm not looking to have kids, you can take essentially 2,000 milligram capsules once daily with breakfast and at dinner. And Bernice, emergency, no. None of those powdered sugary ones, they are full of sugar. So don't take emergency. All right, hot flashes. I know a lot of you ladies are suffering with hot flashes. So sage is a powerful phytoestrogen that addresses hot flashes that are due to low levels of estrogen, okay? So really amazing supportive herb. It's also safe for hot flashes due to Lupron, which stops estrogen production. So if you are a woman who had to take Lupron because you had fibroids and your doctor was like, inducing menopause artificially, you're going to get hot flashes from taking Lupron. And if you are, you can take sage, completely safe. Directions you want to do is take about a half a teaspoon first thing in the morning away from food. It's the best time to take it. Check out what Laura Lynn had to say. Before seeing Melissa, I was walking out of meetings because my hot flashes were running my life. I had 10 pounds of added weight and I just didn't recognize myself anymore. Plus, she worked with my vegetarian lifestyle and helped me get back my life. And now I'm actually excited about this next phase in my life, which is amazing. I really am proud of all the ballers that I'm telling you about this evening. What about vaginal dryness? This is a really, really embarrassing topic, shameful topic for a lot of women because they don't know what to do. So here's some relief. It can actually be due to lower levels of estrogen. Remember I told you that not all estrogen is bad, but you got to rule out some root causes. And one of them could be antihistamines. Believe it or not, antihistamines are the number one side effect to antihistamines is vaginal dryness. So if you are in your late 20s or 30s and you're listening in and you're like, Melissa, oh my God, I'm suffering from vaginal dryness, I'm taking all these antihistamines, it's likely because of that. It might not even be because you have low levels of estrogen. So you have to think of these other potential root causes to rule out. Things like Ativan, Zantac, also a really big one, or Xanax, I should say. Smoking or excess alcohol or coffee is going to be a huge one that's going to contribute to vaginal dryness. Birth control or Depo-Provera also can contribute to vaginal dryness. So directions you want to essentially take, you can take a vitamin E suppository. And they make one, I believe Carlson's makes one, you can get on Amazon. Or if you've just got vitamin E gel caps at home, just take a 400 IU, just slightly wet it, and then insert it vaginally. And this actually can give you a lot of help as well. So fatigue, insomnia, and stubborn weight gain. How to get your power back from adrenal fatigue and thyroid issues. I know a lot of people listening in are really suffering with this. One thing I love is the Himalayan salt brine. I usually add in about 2 chunks to a large mason jar of water. I let it sit overnight to make this really salty brine. The next day, I take 1 teaspoon of that very salty brine and I add it to about an 8-ounce glass of water. Okay? Now, Himalayan's wonderful. The other types of salt that you can use are Celtic sea salt, Redmond salt, so like red as in the color red, Redmond salt. Those are really great. Himalayan sea salt doesn't have a lot of iodine content in it. So if you've got thyroid issues that require iodine support, then you might want to go for Celtic sea salt, like a gray Celtic sea salt, or even the Redmond salt. Also, mushroom hot cocoa, reishi mushroom tonics. Love this. Okay, so reishi is a phenomenal mushroom. It's great for the adrenals as an adaptogen, and it's also a wonderful immune modulator if you've got Hashimoto's. So a lot of people ask me about mushrooms. Well, reishi is like the queen of mushrooms versus chaga is like the king of mushrooms. But if you've got Hashimoto's or any adrenal type issues, because thyroid issues, you gotta treat the adrenals. Biggest overlooked thing ever is women that have thyroid conditions, their doctors are just putting them on Synthroid and not realizing that they require adrenal support as well. Kelp. Iodine supplements are not pure iodine. Kelp contains natural iodine plus the fiber to aid in the digestion of it. It's also a pretty whole food, which is great. It's also safe for those with hyperthyroid as well as hypo. You want to take about 1 capsule with breakfast daily. Wouldn't do this if you're breastfeeding or if you're pregnant, but kelp is also wonderful as an iodine support. The number one area, though, that's often overlooked by women and practitioners when it comes to hormonal healing, addressing a change in mindset. Huge. And I know you're probably sitting there rolling your eyes thinking, oh, Lord, really? Really? But I have never seen one case that actually worked when mindset wasn't addressed. Otherwise, how do you expect to stay on the bandwagon and stop self-sabotaging yourself? Like, it's a huge part of it. Not convinced? Check this out. A study coming out of the Ohio State University showed that participants who reported 1 or more stressors during the past day burned 104 fewer calories than non-stressed women over the course of the day. The stressed women also had higher levels of insulin and lower rates of burning fat, suggesting they were storing more fat. I mean, let's face it, do you really want to eat a salad when you're stressed? The first step to taking your power back is to understand where you're giving it away and be accountable. Huge. Listen, I love malas. You will see me. I wear malas and stones and crystals, and I love all of that. But women are always like, how do I take my power back, Melissa? I'm like, understand where you're giving it away and be accountable. No more being the victim and no more being the martyr. And set boundaries to allow for more space and ask for help. Because I can almost tell you right now that most of you listening in really suck at setting boundaries, really suck at asking for help. Am I right? You know what I'm talking about. So Happiness is a byproduct of certain behaviors. It's not like this one big thing. It's a byproduct, okay? It's a learned skill that requires the right tools to establish mindfulness, perspective, and continual practice. I'm still practicing. That's why it's called a practice. It's why I feel that women are still struggling with their hormonal issues when they're on a truckload of supplements because their mindset and lifestyle factors haven't been addressed. They come to me with like tons of supplements in their arms going, why am I not getting better? Like, well, how's your lifestyle? Are you going to sleep? Are you asking for help? But you're so stressed out and you wonder why it's not all shifting? Chronic elevated stress hormones can compete with your sex hormones, namely progesterone and even testosterone, believe it or not. So you really, really, really do not want to have these stress hormones that are all out of whack. It's the reason why adrenal and mindset and emotional healing, even spiritual healing, is such an integral part of Sexy Lady Balls. So check out Maria and her emotional weight connection. She says, after my second daughter, Bella, I couldn't shed the weight no matter what I did. Soon after, I became depressed. I felt alone with my relation, and my relationship suffered. After working with Melissa privately, I felt that she had my back. Sure, I've worked with NDs and other nutritionists and lost weight before, but I just gained it back. But Melissa was the first person who made me dig deep to the root of it. I was able to heal a part of myself where I finally rediscovered who I was and was thus able to lose weight. Putting myself first has been a game changer. Listen, true mindset work is about harnessing the right tools so that we can implement the practice of embodiment. So when shit hits the fan, you're not going to lose your shit. That you're going to surprise yourself and go, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't flip out. I've heard that so many times in the membership. By being vulnerable and holding ourselves accountable for our own bullshit story, we can move past our victim state mentality and lead more fulfilling lives and deeper relationships. Remember, what you focus in on expands. So what are you choosing to focus in on? So tell me, how are you feeling? Because sometimes I know people are like, whoa, that was a lot of information. But I told you it was going to be value-packed. Are you ready to seriously kick some hormonal butt? Like, seriously? Is it time for you to be like, I'm done. I'm done feeling like shit. I'm done with this. I'm done putting myself last. I'm totally done, Melissa. If you are, welcome to Sexy Lady Balls. I want to tell you about this program that I have been telling you about. Aubrey's like, hells yes. Lauren's like, yeps. If you guys are all in, let me hear you say a hell yes and amen, whatever you'd like. Well, if you join today, here's what you're going to receive. All right. And there's going to be specials only for you. And by the way, that free gift, it's coming up. So you're going to get one topic specific coaching call once a month. Okay. Here are some topics that we sort of cover: improving your fertility, getting rid of hormonal weight gain, thyroid issues, including Hashimoto's, overcoming insulin resistance and PCOS. We talk about topics like perimenopause and menopause, diving deep into treatment plans. Also, natural and safe alternatives to birth control, tackling endometriosis, adenomyosis, fibroids, and so much more. So these are like just examples of the things that we talk about. And this alone, we always make sure that there's always replays if you can't attend. So don't feel like, crap, life got in the way. All good. We always have replays. This alone right now is $197 value. Just that alone. Because I charge for an hour of my time, $200. So huge value. We also do 4 one-hour Q&A coaching calls to answer all of your questions that may come up and provide additional resources. So every single week, I do a Q&A coaching call every week. And that is an $800 value. And I do this because I know that women are like, Melissa, I've got a bunch of these questions. Maybe they missed me in the group or something. I don't know what it is, but I always love these coaching calls. Let's talk a little bit about how this protocol and this shopping list and this meal plan all comes together, because I give you the tools to make this happen. I give you amazing foods like this matcha chocolate balls that I almost scrolled past. I can't do that because they're delicious. They're so good. I've got wonderful grain-free recipes like this, chicken and peppers and herbs, and it's so easy to make. Simple, easy ingredients. I've got wonderful vegan dishes as well. This green bean casserole that is absolutely to die for. And yes, there's recipes for meat eaters, vegetarians, and vegans. Big time. Plus, you will actually receive bonus recipes weekly in your Sexy Lady Balls Digest. So this is essentially an email that goes out to you every single week. We give you bonus recipes every single week and loads of updates as well. So we always want to make sure that you are happy and you feel like you're getting as much value as possible from this. And you also get the opportunity to tackle those hormone issues with my base supplement protocol. Remember I mentioned that? And that add-on supplement formulas. So like, hey, I got hot flashes. I just choose this. So it's easy for you to customize your plan based on your symptoms. So that whole thing in total that I just spoke about is $427 value. You can also get inspired with 2 cooking video tutorials that takes you through some of the recipes in your Sexy Lady Balls recipe book. So these are pre-recorded cooking tutorials, and they are delicious and amazing because it shows you how to customize things. And that right there, guys, is a $97 value. And remember, don't forget that now I've implemented a live cooking class that happens every single month. And that cooking class, what do we talk about? Well, you guys vote on what you want me to do. So it's always something that I always check in, make sure that you guys are happy. And so we do this live cooking class every month, and it's so much fun. I actually really love it because you guys are engaging and we're chatting and we're laughing. It's a lot of fun. All right. Participate in monthly challenges led by yours truly with additional coaching calls. And as a baller, you can be rewarded with prizes worth up to $100. That's right. So every month we have a challenge, and this, it could be a meditation challenge. It could be a fitness challenge. We've just had so many different, a greens challenge, get more greens in your diet. And you post in our community group, and we pick a winner every single month, and they get prizes. I love to incentivize, people who are just rocking out. That right there is a $297 value because I participate in these challenges too. I'm posting, I'm doing added coaching calls. I always over deliver. It's just one thing you always know about me is you're like, I thought there was only one coaching call and weekly coaching calls. Yeah, no, there's more. I do a lot of them at random because I'm like, I got this a great idea. I want to tell them about it. Also, I do recommend fitness resources so you can move and shake your body to a healthier and hotter version of you. You got to move your body. Either women come in and they're completely sedentary or they're over exercising. So we do talk about, that and what is right for you. It is important. This is the most holistically balanced plan you are ever going to find online. And I know this because I've looked at other plans. All right. And those expert coaching calls, I love doing these. So we've got some that are already pre-recorded, okay, that we've already done in the past, and they're there for you to watch. But we also have them coming in live, which I adore because you get everything from, experts like Elizabeth D'Alto, Alexi Panos and Preston Smiles, the Red 10 sisters talking about, birth control methods. Amy Jo Goddard, who talked about intimacy. Just so many incredible experts that are available, that are there, that you can engage with, that I think is just truly phenomenal. I also want you to de-stress with 3 yoga nidra recordings that have been proven to be more relaxing than sleep itself. And this alone is a $197 value. And the reason why I love yoga nidra is because you just lay there and you listen to it. And if you can't meditate because you're feeling like I can't clear my mind, this is amazing, and I swear by it. You're also going to get access to the Sexy Lady Balls private Facebook group to receive motivation and support from your other tribe of ballers. And this is huge because you really require that support. I didn't have that when I went through my issues. You see my past history where I almost died. I would talk to family, friends, feel like I always had to explain myself, felt like no one got it. And that's the reason why I created this. And you're soon going to realize that we have OG ballers, like original gangster ballers from like when this first began. And the biggest reason why a lot of them stay is because they love the community. They love the support. They feel like they have people to turn to. It's the reason why that I created this. You're going to have access to myself. I'm in that group and I hold you accountable. Like I hold you accountable. I will actually call you out. And I have a resident nutritionist who is there so that, and she is so on it to help you receive additional advice. And you're going to be matched with your very own accountability partner. Heck yeah, sisters got to stay together. All of us. And that is so darn important because you and I are sisters in this game. So if we have each other, God, we can just, like, anything is possible. The value of that, can we say priceless? All right, so you probably are wondering how much. I've been telling you about the value of all of this, right? So how much is this really? So the recap. Weekly Q&A coaching calls, monthly topic-specific coaching calls, live expert interviews with replays provided, supplement and food plan, recipe book filled with over 100 recipes, the weekly Sexy Lady Balls Digest email that gets sent to you every week that gets you bonus recipes, your shopping list to make shopping a breeze, your accountability partner matchup because we are sisters, ballers in this together, people. Fitness recommendations provided. 2 cooking video tutorials that are pre-recorded there for you. We've also got the monthly live cooking classes, monthly challenges with additional coaching and monthly prizes as well. And the Yoga Nidra recordings. A lot. And it's not to overwhelm you, it's just to show you that there's so much available for you that's there to help you. The total value of this is like $3,000. I'm telling you that right now, and it's worth every single darn penny. I know because I created it and I see the results. But I'm not going to charge you even $800. I'm also not even going to charge you $700. I'm not going to charge you $600. I'm not going to charge you $500. I'm not going to charge you $400. But I'm just going to let you sit here. $57 per month is how you're going to get empowered. And all I ask for is a 3-month minimum commitment. And the reason why is because 3 months is the bare minimum to see your hormones shift. If you are coming in going, I want to see them shift in like 2 weeks, you're kidding yourself. A month, you're kidding yourself. I'm not saying that because I'm trying to be difficult. I'm saying that because unless you are God, you can't literally just snap your fingers and reverse years of what has led to this imbalance. So 3 months is the minimum. I would say 3 to 6 months is kind of the time frame that you really want to dedicate yourself to this. But wait, I'm going to throw in a bonus because you're here, you're listening to this masterclass. It's worth $400 and it's going to be free if you join today. So I'm going to give you 4 of my weightless mindset coaching recordings. Really huge. I am huge on mindset, guys. It's so important. You're going to hear about how to let go and get over it. I'm sure you've heard that before from people. It's like, just get over it. Easier said than done, right? Also, we're going to talk about how to overcome addictions and their associations to weight gain. Staying on the bandwagon and getting empowered for sustainable weight loss. So that's kind of huge. Improving relationships and losing the emotional and physical weight. So also really big. That right there is a $400 value, but free only when you buy Sexy Lady Balls today. So I'm throwing that in. That means I'm giving you that $3,000 value plus the $400 worth of bonuses, which is a $3,400 total value. And you're only going to get it for $57 a month. That's so reasonable. This is how you can get empowered. Okay? Huge. So seriously, what are you waiting for? You got questions? Well, I will tell you this right now. I've got answers. All right. So I'm going to switch this over so you can see me. All I'm back. All right, guys. So I know that a lot of people generally have questions, but I am going to put up this offer. And just so you guys know, this offer is only going to be available for about 15 minutes. So give me 2 seconds here. All right. So offer is up. It is up. It's live. It's going on. You got less than 15 minutes to get on this. So as this ticker is going, I'm going to hear answer questions. Aubrey says, done. That's not bad, says Aubrey. It's not bad at all. The reason why that I did this is because I felt it was so darn important to make sure that it was accessible. Because I didn't have that. Like, you can go to a practitioner and see someone privately, like a naturopath or a nutritionist. I can guarantee you're going to pay way more than that. And with all that value, all those coaching calls, you know, with the challenges, with being able to win free prizes, all that stuff is huge, huge. Aubrey was like, okay, I was panicking about the price. Clearly, but it's not as bad as you think, because the value of it is $3,000. 3,400 actually. Tonight it's 3,400, the value, but you're getting it for way, way less than that. So offer is up right there. So make sure that you check it out. We've also posted the link there as well. Lauren goes, not going to lie, I've been thinking about this for months. I just finished grad school and have begun my new job, so I'm going to start soon. Sweet. I just really feel that this is absolutely integral. And I also want to be able to flag to you guys that if you end up getting Sexy Lady Balls and you're like, Melissa, I heard about that hormone panel, I'm really interested in it. When you actually join Sexy Lady Balls, you're going to be taken to another page that will give you the opportunity to upgrade to get that hormone panel. So if that is something that you are interested in, we definitely get a lot of emails about that hormone panel because it provides so much clarity. And I really believe that women need to get empowered and understand what specifically is going on. So if that is something that you are looking for, that is an option to upgrade tonight. So when you go to purchase Sexy Lady Balls, you go to that link that is provided at the offer, which is counting down under 15 minutes. That page is going to be there. So just so that you know. But I would strongly suggest that you make sure that you get in on this offer tonight, because those mindset coaching calls are huge. And I say huge in the sense that I honestly didn't realize how much of a missing piece to that of a puzzle that mindset was, because I couldn't fix my hormones for literally years. I was on all the supplements. I was like working out. I was doing all that, and nothing was working. And that was really stressful. And so when I started to realize where I was like literally like giving away my power, making it rain, you know, my own power, and giving it to everyone else, and being a martyr and a victim is huge. So that's really, 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 really big. The other thing is that if you're sitting on the fence this evening and you're like, I don't know, should I do this? Isn't it about time that you actually put yourself first? Oh, we got some ballers already. So welcome, Nyana. I love that name. Welcome, Nyana, to SLB, Sex with Lady Balls. But I do want to say to you that, like, it's so important to put yourself first. And chances are you haven't put yourself first in a really long time, which is likely why you got to where you are right now. You know, feeling like I got to say yes to everybody. I'm having problems saying no. You know, I feel like what is it now? Can I ever catch a break? I'm in pain. I don't know what to do. If you're literally in pain, I can tell you right now, you can leave this masterclass this evening and you can go to somebody else and pay the premium, but you are not going to get the type of comprehensive support that Sexy Lady Balls offers. I have created this program and continually revise it. I don't want to say continually revise it, but continually optimize it is probably a better word. But I continually optimize it so that it is better, more improved, more suited to you guys. I'm always, you know, doing surveys to make sure everyone is happy. And the value of like cooking classes, remember, live cooking classes every single month. How many times do you start a plan and you're like, I just got bored. I just fell off the bandwagon. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of eating the same thing. That's the reason why the live cooking classes are there, to inspire you big time. If I try to join now, it kicks me out of the webinar. I'm sure that Team SFT can probably help you. One of my people can probably help you right now. But just know that, you know what you can do is you can probably copy that link there, Aubrey, and then open up a new tab is probably your best way to go about it. So if you don't want to be kicked out of this because you want to hear me kind of like ramble on, as I'm a Led Zeppelin fan, copy that link and just open up a new tab and just paste it there, and that should be just fine. And so, yes, the bonuses, I'm going to be letting you guys know that very shortly because the offer is going to be ending. We're already under 10 minutes. You know, if you ever kind of go to see family or friends and they look at you and kind of roll their eyes going, oh my God, what is she up to now? Is this another fad diet or is this another thing that she's trying? You need to spend your money on so many different things. I heard that a lot. And it got really frustrating and really freaking irritating. I'm not going to lie. And it's something that I absolutely can resonate with you guys on that and let you know that you are totally not alone in this. And you don't have to be alone in this. You don't have to be suffering every single month when you have your period. You don't have to be suffering with endometrial pain that it feels like someone put your uterus in a meat grinder. You don't have to be feeling like you've lost your femininity and all your who you are as a woman because you had to get a hysterectomy. You don't have to feel like you are unattractive anymore because you're going through menopause and you don't recognize what your body is or who you are anymore, and all of a sudden feel like you're going through a midlife crisis. Because I'll tell you, after the age of 35, most women that I see stop and go, who the heck am I? That doesn't just require support from a supplement and food perspective, which I give you. Like, I give that to you. And I help you with, the fitness resources and support you and keep you accountable. But it also requires, support. People show up for the content in Sexy Lady Balls. They stay for the community. That is the gold part of it. And you might be like, oh, I don't know, I'm pretty introverted. Ain't no one seeing your face. You don't have to post a picture of your face. But I can tell you, I've seen women come in and they just needed someone to talk to because nobody was understanding their struggle. I get that. You might be coming in going, Melissa, I can't control my periods. They are beyond heavy. That I'm a grown woman and I'm having accidents. I get it. I was there. I literally had to go shopping for a pair of jeans once when I was working at an office because I soiled my jeans. So I tied my jacket around my waist like I first got my period and soiled my pants for the first time. Went out, got a new pair of jeans, changed out of my old ones, and sent them to the dry cleaners. This ruled my life. It even ruled my dating life. I mean, I'm married now and all, but that was really embarrassing to be like, oh my God, am I going to bleed right through? Oh my God, how about if he knows this? I mean, terrible. I've been going through that. I was going through that shit since I was 13 years old. And I'm pretty sure I'm not alone on this. Aubrey says, this is totally my answer to my parents. I've been fighting my body since I was 13. Oh, and I just want to say, you are not the only person feeling like they have to fight with your body. But here's the reality is, you don't have to fight with your body. In fact, it's the opposite of what you should be doing. But our mindset has been geared towards that. Because we get our periods and we're like, oh, I hate it. I got my period. This is terrible. Just, it's so horrible. And I got to let you know that there is hope because your body isn't trying to punish you. It is doing everything in its possible to actually help you. It might feel like that, but there's emotional and spiritual reasons why your body is acting the way it is. And that's definitely something that I love to be able to mention. So I just want to give you guys a quick time check. We are under 5 minutes and 30 seconds remaining before this offer goes. And I'm telling you, once the offer goes, you're not going to get that mindset recordings as well, which I will tell you right now is pure gold. Because I remember women have commented on those live streams or those mindset recording calls and have said, my relationship with my husband strengthened. And that's a huge thing. When I see people's relationships with their husbands and their kids strengthen, I feel like, you help one woman and the amount of people that it actually serves is huge. Now, if you're sitting on the fence and you're like, I don't know the price of this, can I just give you a little bit of a news flash here? If you went to see a practitioner, you would be paying anywhere between $100 and $200 at minimum for a consult. So if you're sitting there umming and ahhing about the price and the value of this, remember the recap. You've got cooking tutorials, pre-recorded calls. You've got Q&A coaching calls every single week. You've got topic-specific coaching calls. You've got a recipe plan, a supplement protocol. You've got yoga nidra recordings, live experts that come in every single month. I can guarantee you, if you went to go see a practitioner for a consult, a first consult, you would pay way more and get way less and be told, here are the supplements you can take. Here's the food that you can eat. That's it. I'll see you in a bit for your follow-up, which is going to cost you, by the way, another $100 to $200 for your follow-up. So if you're umming and ahhing about the price, you have to sit there and ask yourself, are you worth it? Are you worth it? How done are you? How bad do you not? How bad do you want this? And how bad do you want to stop feeling like crap? Is it going to matter that it's going to be like, oh, well, I don't know, I'm living here and with the exchange rate, it's going to be this, this, this. Telling you right now, with all the value that's there, aren't you worth the desire to feel better? Stop making excuses for where help is being offered. I'm a firm believer in signs and signals, and I can guarantee you didn't show up to this masterclass that you saw, on Facebook and thought like, oh yeah, I'm going to come and literally give an hour of your time, an hour of your time, an hour and a half of your time right now. If it wasn't a sign and a calling for something more. I truly believe this. All right, I was going to start on the first, but I'm going in. Yes, Lauren, I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, time check, because I'm pretty sure we're under 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. So welcome, Laura, and welcome, Melissa. So there's another Melissa in the house. Great name. Welcome, Mandy, as well to SLB. Wonderful to have you here. So like I said, guys, welcome Annie to SLB. So we got people, clearly it's coming in, which is amazing, but please, and I say this with all the heart in the world that I got, I know suffering, and I know what it's like to suffer, and I know what it's like to feel alone. But if you are literally debating, I don't know, 3 to 6 months of your life to focus in on one thing and give it all you got, I can tell you right now, you're going to walk in and you're going to strut right back on out. But it's up to you. I can give you all the resources and all the value as you've seen, and all this info and the support and the guidance from my team, who is just amazing. But it's up to you. It truly is up to you. And I hope that you can join us, because you are worth that. You are worth so much more than you've been putting out there. Given to everybody constantly, it's your time. It's your time to shine. It's a time for you to focus in on you. So just a last time check here. We have under a minute remaining. And I don't want this opportunity to pass you by, where you're looking at it going, damn it, I could have got those mindset coaching calls because they're worth $400 and they're pretty freaking amazing. And all the value here and the opportunity to upgrade and get all that, it's just absolutely huge. Sulika, love that name. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Sulika, welcome to SLB. And Aubrey, almost. Yes, as soon as it's done, I'm signing up. Okay, sweet. So make sure that you do, because after this is done, we are pretty much going to be done. So let me just check this out. 13 seconds, 12, 11, 10, and we are counting down. So guys, for all of you guys who have joined, I am so absolutely thrilled to get to know you better. And I just wanted to welcome you into my family. You are a part of my family now, and I will treat you as though you are a sister, to me, because that's exactly what I look at the ballers are. It's my sisterhood tribe. It's my sisters. I'm telling you that right now, my sisters. All right, guys. So that is pretty much it for the offer. I know that you guys have sat with me for literally an hour and a half now. And I want to let you know that tomorrow morning, you will be receiving a copy of my blender soup recipes that's going to be emailed right to your inbox. It's it's a recipe book filled with blender soup ideas. They are so good. And that is literally just a taste, pun intended, of some of the incredible recipes that I whip up that I absolutely love to be able to empower and motivate you to a healthier, happier, and hotter you. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here this evening on this masterclass, all about helping you to just kick some hormonal butt. I look forward to chatting with you and getting to know you more. Take care.